Hello and welcome to Bespoke Unit. My name is Rafael, and in today's video I'm going to be taking an in-depth look at the Seiko 5 Sports SRPD65. Now the SRPD65 is this watch that I have with me right here, and as you can see, it's got black PVD bracelet, case, crown, and bezel. Anyways, I'll get deeper into that and many more details on this watch in the review. Let's get started. And here we have it, the Seiko 5 Sports, reference SRPD65. This is the black PVD or black finish version. You can see it here on my wrist. Looks great. Let's go ahead and take it off for a closer look. Now before getting started, just a little comparison here on the finish. You can see here it is a shiny black coating, what Seiko refers to as a hard coating. It does have a brush finish on top, and the edges of it are more polished. There are other hard coatings on the Seiko 5 Sports lines. As you can see, this is the SRPD81. In this case, it's more of a matte black, and it doesn't have the polished finish that we see here on the SRPD65, but I just wanted to provide a quick comparison. Now the dimensions on this watch are going to be 42.5 in diameter, so that sounds about right. 46 is the official number for the lug to lug. Looks more like 45 here, maybe 46, yeah. 13.4 in thickness, so not really a slim watch. Though, as you could see, as you saw already, it didn't necessarily fit under my cuff here of my Oxford shirt, but I think it still looks great. One last measure, the strap size is going to be 22 millimeters, so a super common size. So likely already, if you've owned any Seiko sports watches, you likely already have some straps that would fit this watch. Now a little more on the case here, we can see that the top of the lugs, while still PVD, the entire watch is black PVD, they have a brushed finish. You can see it matches the end link here and the bracelet. However, the side is polished. And this is a theme that we see throughout Seiko 5 Sports watches. Here I have the Pepsi here, where you can see brushed lugs, or the top is brushed and the side of the case is polished. The same is going on here, except it's in that nice black coating. Now of course we have our diver's bezel here. No luminous pip at that top index, and the insert appears to be aluminum with silver metallic markings, which provides a nice contrast, makes it super easy to read. Now a little bit more on the bracelet, you can see it has a slight taper from the case down to the clasp. It does have a little play in it. I've worn this maybe a week total, so it's not like it's had a time to stretch. This is how it came from the factory, but I've found the bracelet to be quite comfortable. You can see there's plenty of wrist hair there, and I haven't had any issues with it pinching the skin or pulling the hair, so it's super comfortable. Onto the clasp, it's got a couple of safety features. Of course, we continue the brushed finish on top, polish on the sides. We do have this fold over element, and even after opening this, the clasp doesn't open. You do have to use a double button function there to get it open. We can see here the inside is also same coating but polished. Now this bracelet is adjusted, even though it looks like screws here, these are pins, so they don't necessarily screw into the other side. You gotta use a little hammer essentially to push them out and push them back in. But again, super sturdy bracelet. It does have a little jangle, let's say, but I didn't have any issue with it. Onto the dial, it is a flat black color. I can once more bring it in here to compare it. pretty much the same. It's going to have applied indices, hour indices. Those are generously loomed. And I'm trying to catch it here on the camera, but those indices are steel and they're polished, so they do offer a nice contrast. Same thing with the center hands. They're going to be polished steel with plenty of loom. And as you can see there, the seconds hand taken away, half of it is black, and then the indicator side, let's say, is silver to aid in reading the time if you do want to get that precise. Now let's take a look at the date. Obviously we can see there that's going to be black text on a white background. This particular example is, as you can see there at the bottom of the dial, the movement is made in Japan. However, the rest of the watch was made outside of Japan, and I'm assuming assembled outside of Japan as well. But I do want to show these examples, these Seiko 5 sports watches where it says only movement Japan. They tend to have a day disc, which is English, as you can see there, and Spanish. However, what doesn't change across the models is the fact that Saturday is usually in blue, Salo, there you go, and Sunday is in red. Other than that, the date doesn't change. And if you're wondering how to change the dates here, the day and date, I pulled out to the first position. Clockwise is going to change the day, and counterclockwise changes the date. Now, we've already done a video on how to set the Seiko 5 Sports, but I'll just do a quick reminder here that whenever you're setting the date, you want to make sure you're outside of the danger zone, which is from 10 p.m. at night to about 2 in the morning. You'll see that, so it's at 9, 10 p.m., 11, you'll see that around that time is when the mechanism starts automatically changing the date. So you don't want to go in there and manually change the date around those times. And you can see here, I hadn't passed 3 in the morning and it hadn't completed changing the date. So probably just to play it safe, I wouldn't try changing the day or date if the time on the watch is set anywhere between 9 p.m. and probably 3 or 4 a.m. There you go. Now this, having a non-screw down crown, you can see I'm in position 0. You can likely hear it winding. This is one of the new features of the Seiko 4R36 movement that's in this watch, and I'll get into it in a second, which is that at position 0, if you rotate the crown clockwise, you can hand wind the watch. Of course, this is automatic, so the movement of your wrist is going to spin that rotor that you see here. So that's going to wind the watch. But if you left the watch sitting for a while and maybe it's uncharged, you can wind it by hand. However, the fact that you don't have a screw down crown means that the water resistance on this piece is only 100 meters. And I say only because the expectation for a lot of these Seiko divers is 200 meters. I have yet to have an issue where I'm going deeper than 100 meters and my Seiko 5 Sports simply can't take it, but just certainly something to note. Back to the movement, we can see here obviously a sapphire case back, which is a nice upgrade from the Seiko SKX, which the Seiko 5 Sports line, such as this guy, is intended to replace. Now, this movement is made in Japan again, as we saw on the dial. Not that it makes a difference. Seiko does sell the Seiko 5 Sports watches with the same exact movement, not made in Japan. I haven't noted any different. The specs are the same. The specs on this movement being a 41-hour power reserve. The accuracy is about plus 45 to negative 35 seconds per day, so that's quite accurate, certainly for the price point that we have here. And lastly, what this does have is, note the seconds hand there. I'm going to pull the crown out to the last position. So you'll notice that the seconds there stopped. Now this is known as hacking seconds, and what it allows you to do is to get super precise when you're setting the time. And you put the crown back in and the seconds start ticking one more. But yeah, there you have it. This is the Seiko SRPD65. This black PVD is quite nice. It is part of Seiko's suit collection, the Seiko 5 Sports suit collection, which I do agree is I found it to be much more formal than this matte black finish. Quite a look around the wrist.
There you have it. That's our review of the Seiko 5 Sports SRPD65. Now, if that review left you with any comments or questions, make sure to leave them in the section below. If you're looking for the latest pricing information on this watch, as it can vary depending on when you look, check the links in the description. And as always, if you find the video useful, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the Bespoke Unit channel for more wristwatch and men's lifestyle content. As always, I'm Rafael. This is a Bespoke Unit. Thanks for watching.